to know. Chloe asked you. Since every few days or every few weeks we find out about another unfortunate inmate on death row who is found to be totally innocent due to DNA testing, I would like to know, would you support a constitutional amendment to end the death penalty in California? And would you support a moratorium on the death penalty until that is put into effect?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
This is the law and order candidate. Yes and yes also. I think you're right. There's too many cases now where through DNA evidence or whatever they're finding that they put somebody on death row who doesn't belong there.
Agreed?
Joe Biden has it.
I do support the death penalty. I was public safety deputy for Bob Hertzberg when he was chair of the Public Safety Committee, and over that year I met with a lot of victims' families, and I got to talk to them about the situation and the circumstances around murders. And it was a very touching, emotional experience listening to these people's stories and the effect that it has on their lives. So I feel that when someone takes a life, that they forfeit their lives. Now I'm concerned that we are executing people who did not commit those crimes. Working with Bob Hertzberg, we created the Hertzberg-Davis Crime Lab at Cal State Los Angeles, where we have trained more forensic scientists in the past 5 years. So we can exonerate people who are not guilty.
If they're not dead.
I'm sorry, but I think your question wasn't, do we support the death penalty? It was, would we support an amendment? It's not the same question, okay? Because, you know...
No, do you oppose the death penalty?
Well, the question was, would you
support did you ask me if I oppose the death penalty, or do I support a constitutional amendment?
Ending the death penalty.
Well,
Constitutional amendment was the question.
The question that you asked was, do I support a constitutional amendment to the death penalty, which is different than supporting current law.
Do you support a constitutional amendment to end the death penalty?
Yes, I want to make sure, because Stuart
Did make a good point. That the question that you asked was, do I support a constitutional amendment to end the death penalty? The answer is yes, I do. Do I support current law? Yes, until it's amended. Does that make sense? No. The current law, someone's shaking their head, do you understand?
Well, I think that...
We've been talking about a moratorium on the death penalty.
I would be in favor of that.
Until we can actually get a constitutional amendment passed.
I would be in favor of a moratorium.
Would you be willing to carry that legislation?
I would be willing to carry legislation that would put a moratorium on the death penalty until we actually were able to populate the crime labs that were able to do the backlog of DNA testing, so that those folks that are currently on death row would be exonerated or not. But currently we do have a death penalty in the state of California. I support current law until such time as an amendment is proposed. When that occurs, I would support an amendment to the Constitution.
Does anyone
does anyone else
Would you propose that amendment?
to clarify? All right, we'll move on to another question.